Down dudes, what's up? It's me, the Media Raptor, and I am back with another movie review. Tonight, I'm here to review a 2016 animated movie. That movie is Sausage Party. Yeah, I saw this movie. Well, I watched it online, and I saw it in theaters a while back, like a couple days ago. This movie, you guys, could have gone one of two ways. It could have been one of the funniest movies I've ever seen, or it could have been one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Because when you're trying to make an R-rated cartoon movie, which is what it is, you're gonna either have to be really funny or really shocking. And if you fail at being funny, you have to rely on shocking. And if you fail on shocking, you have to rely on being funny. So, and then the problem with shock humor is after the first viewing or two, it's not shocking anymore. So, did Sausage Party succeed? Oh my god, you guys, this movie was f***ing awesome. Yeah, this movie was awesome. I can only think of a very few number of R-rated animated movies that aren't anime. Those being Heavy Metal, South Park movie, Aqua Teen Hunger Force: movie film for theaters, The 9 Lives of Fritz the Cat, and Sausage Party. I think there may be more, but those are the only 5 that come to mind. And out of those 5, this one is by far the best. It is by far the most creative, it is by far the funniest, and it is by far the most well-made. So let's talk about the story. You guys can probably gather from the trailer, because pretty much the main plot point is, food believes that humans, us, we're gods to them. And they exist in a world where they can see us, but we see them as food. Like, okay, I don't have any food on me at the moment, but whatever. You know what I mean. And it's about a sausage and a bun who essentially, they get left behind by mistake after a can of honey mustard, leaves the store, then comes back and tells them it's all a lie, and a bunch of stuff happens, and it turns out, like, that really the gods are just going to kill us. And it's this whole quest with Frank, the hot dog. Actually, none of them are sausages. I find that really funny. He's trying to tell everyone, like, we're all pretty much screwed the second we get out those doors. In fact, to quote this movie directly from the best character in the movie, Firewater, a bottle of liquor, as soon as you're out those doors, the gods kill our asses. Which is pretty true, and there is some pretty graphic scenes of the food being prepared and eaten, and it is absolutely hilarious, although it is incredibly disturbing at the same time. Maybe because I was eating a bag of popcorn while I was watching this movie. Yeah. So, you might think, how can they take that, maybe we'll make a Robot Chicken short and turn it into a full-length movie? They did. See, aside from just them finding out what's going on, there's actually a couple subplots. One of them is they end up meeting Sammy Bagel Jr., a Jewish bagel, and a Muslim wrap thing. I have no idea what they called it. I think a pita or sort of like a taco, and there's also a lesbian taco. So, yeah, and it's the 5 of them trying to get back to their shelves before the gods show up in the morning and yada yada yada, because there's all these rules, all these laws. But it turns out that the non-perishables, which are Mr. Grits, Twink, obviously a Twinkie, I don't remember what Mr. Grits was, and Firewater, who is essentially a native chief, bottle of alcohol, turns out the great beyond, all the gods, everything they believed in their whole life is a lie. And that the non-perishables actually invented the entire thing. To quote this movie again, they'll go out of those doors happy instead of themselves. Because, they didn't really want food to know the horrible truth. And then, along the way, apparently, the food started taking the stories and changing it to support their certain views and beliefs. Like, there's a scene where, during a flashback, you see a walnut holding a sign that says, "The gods hate figs." Or the sauerkraut, which are all German, it's German beer essentially. One of them is Hitler. I kid you not. And they all do like the Hail Hitler thing, they do the walk, and they talk about exterminating the juice. No, I am not making this up, and this movie is awesome. You guys, this movie is so stereotypical. It plays off every stereotype of every religion, every culture, every personality trait, everything, and it does it right for once. So many shows and stuff I've seen try and have the characters who are like, oh, they're kind of gay but not really, or oh, they're Jewish, or oh, yada yada yada, but then they royally botch it up and it's not funny. This movie, every character was amazing. Except for probably the antagonist, and that's kind of because I had no idea why they even felt like including him. The main villain in this movie, among all the food items, is a douche. No, I'm not making that up. There was literally a walking, talking douche in this movie. Yeah, and his whole point is he's just trying to kill Frank and Brenda, who's the bun. And that's another one of the subplots, and another one is Barry, who was a sausage which is about that big instead of a normal-sized one. He ends up going to the great beyond and seeing the food getting brutally murdered, and he's trying to get back, and then he's trying to warn everyone, but then... I'm going to spoil this, but I don't feel bad doing it. This movie, at its core, is essentially making fun of every religion ever. And the main character, Frank, goes from being this total guy who's just like, everything we believe is a lie, you have to believe this, no, nothing you believe is true, to like, you know what, there is truth out there, but people believe what they want to believe, you know, and you can't really force it on them. So it's weird, it's really racist, and at the same time, it's not racist. If anything, it kind of preaches acceptance, while totally making fun of that message. It's not a movie to be taken seriously, and I'm reading way too deep into this movie right now. Yeah. And how could this movie possibly end? With a violent, bloody battle. You want to know what happens? It turns out that when we do bath salts, we can actually see food alive the way they see us the entire time. And this one druggie at one point is actually decapitated by the food through a series of accidents. And they bring his decapitated head back to the supermarket to essentially use as, we can kill the gods. And it leads to a massive war between all these really high people who are all high on bath salts, don't ask how, to see the movie, just freaking out and killing the food because they think, oh my god, this food is possessed, what's going on? And the food, they want to just be in control of their lives and, well, their bodies, as they put it. And yeah, they end up killing, like, a lot of people, rather graphically in some cases. Like, there's a guy who is blown up because they shoot him, like, they end up using, like, a cart on wheels, and they send him off a ramp on 2 propane tanks with fireworks, which then blow up, killing him and the douche. The douche was controlling him. Don't ask how, I don't want to talk about it, just go see the movie. And another guy is tied down, a bunch of, like, essentially Mentos are, like, dropped into his mouth, and then a giant 2-liter bottle of Diet Cola jumps into his mouth, and it cuts away before you see it, but his head explodes. Like, I think his whole body explodes, they just didn't show it. And other people, they're shot, they're stabbed, and everyone else at the end is just kind of frozen. All the humans are frozen. So, yeah. That's the story, and the story is absolutely hilarious. And all the humor is amazing, like I've mentioned. All the stereotypes are done great. The humor is done funny. There's so many really bad puns, which are just so bad, but they're played up like so like snarkily that they're funny. And it's just such an interesting idea that it all works somehow. It somehow beats all the odds and actually turns out to be a fantastic movie. And now, if anyone out there is kind of looking at this like, oh, I want to go see it, this is not a kid's movie in the slightest. They swear like every other word, and this movie ends with about a 2-minute long orgy. I'm not making that up. There is a 2-minute food orgy scene. Yeah. Don't ask me to talk about it, because I'm not going to. Let me just put it this way. It somehow made Fritz the Cat, I know, swear to God, this is the last time I'll talk about it. It made Fritz the Cat look G-rated. That's just how bad it was. But it was also kind of funny in a really messed up way. And I don't want to spoil the very ending, but the movie does end on what could be a lead into one of the greatest sequels ever made and one of the greatest movies ever made. acting. I don't really need to spend much time talking about this. Every single actor was amazing. I think my favorite actor was probably Bill McBride, who played Firewater. You know, like the guy who's like, yeah, well, you know, the whole Great Beyond, we invented it. I know, right? As soon as you're out those doors, the gods kill our asses. He sounds a bit deeper than that, but he was probably my favorite actor and favorite character in this movie. All the actors in this film are just having the time of their lives, and you can tell every single one is having a great time doing it. Animation, this whole thing looks like a Disney film. You can't get away from that fact. It looks like a Disney film. But it's not, because they're smoking weed, they're having sex, they're swearing nonstop. It would make a good Disney film if Disney finally grew a pair of balls and decided to try and make a movie like this. But Disney would never do that, because it's freaking Disney. Anyhow. What else do I want to talk about? Music. There's not a lot of songs, like there isn't Wiggle or any of the other songs that they used in the trailers, but they do actually sing a song at the very beginning, which I kind of talked about, like the Non-Perishables wrote this song about how the gods care for you, and it's really funny because going into the movie, you all know the plot. And they're singing like, we can say without a benefit of a doubt there is absolutely nothing that's gonna go wrong. And then they all end up getting brutally murdered. It's ironic, but it's also really funny. Also, in one of the best jokes in this whole movie, Meatloaf, I Would Do Anything for Love, starts playing. And then you see a Meatloaf actually singing it. That was awesome. And yeah, this movie, it's got some really great, background music to try and match with, the whole Indian vibe they were going for, or the German stuff. All the music is done really, really well. So when it comes down to it, can I recommend Sausage Party? If you're over 18, yes. If you're under 18, no. Yeah. Pretty much this movie is adults only. Not even like a 16-year-old can go see it. No, this thing is like, if you're under 18, do not watch this movie. And now everyone who's under 18 is going to go watch it because I said to and whatever. But this movie, it's hilarious, it's offensive, it's rude, it's crass, and it is one of the best comedies to come out in a long time. Not only that, it's one of the best animated movies to come out in a long time, and one of the best animated comedies to come out in the past decade and a half. Alright? This movie is just so stupid, so over the top, it's amazing. It scores 4 Raptor Claws out of 4, and it deserves that, sorry. Cannot wait till it comes out on Blu-ray. I hope they make a sequel. And until next time, you guys, this is the Media Raptor saying keep cool, and I will see you guys around. Later. And don't forget, if you don't subscribe, the gods kill your ass.